Hello everyone, welcome to your monthly tarot reading for August 2023. So these are messages from Spirit for the month of August. Take these energies, my friends, where they apply, where they fit in your life, and view these readings as a heads up, a guidance into the energies that you might be facing this month, and maybe how to handle those challenges or how to be more aware of the opportunities that might be coming your way. Let's get started. Hello Libra. So for the month of August, the overall energies, you've got respect and you've got boundaries. Additional messages with the tarot, you've got learn to nurture yourself, and you've got seek beauty in everything. And then the 4-week breakdown on how the energies are likely to play out. You've got the 8 of Cups, the 4 of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the 3 of Cups. Now, and really with all these cups, I just want to draw to your attention how important it's going to be for you, Libra, in the month of August to actually be on your path to fulfillment. I think that is the driving energy in this reading. So let's start with respect. And I feel this is twofold. I feel, Libra, that this is respecting yourself and your boundaries, and respecting others and their boundaries. So I really feel that these overall energies are together. So if I could merge these into one card, it would say respect boundaries, yours and other people's. Now, if you have I can't remember if it was Virgo now or Leo, maybe Virgo. I think it was Virgo. They had boundaries as well. Maybe if you have Virgo in your chart, go and listen to their reading as well. Because these readings are for your sun, moon, and rising sign, my friends. Respect boundaries. That's this reading in a nutshell. And I think that by respecting your boundaries and by respecting the boundaries of others, I feel that your life changes, and I feel that's what gets you on your path to these cups to fulfillment. Okay, now I'm drawn to the numbers. So the 43 comes to a 7, and then we've got the 50 here, which is a 5, and I feel that saying for the rest of the year, because we're working a 7-year this year, my friends, in numerology, I feel that for the rest of the year you can expect significant changes. And I think that's in respect to respecting boundaries, setting boundaries, and allowing others to set their boundaries. Now, like I did with Virgo, I'm being called to explain boundaries. Now, boundaries is not a wall that you build. It's not a line somewhere that somebody cannot cross. That's not a boundary. A boundary is saying openly and honestly what you need right now in order to be happy, in order to be yourself, in order to feel fulfilled in whatever way that is, my friends. So a boundary is, let's use the example of a partner, your husband, wife, partner, whatever it is, but I'm talking about romantic love here. So you say to your partner, you've started to learn to nurture yourself, and you're starting to see what fulfillment means to you. You're starting to see what you need in your life in order to feel fulfilled. To set a healthy boundary, let's say that you've noticed that you're actually really feeling like you want to be close to your family again. And that pull to be closer to your family has been growing in you. And you realize that, you know what? That is so important to me. That is a value, a belief, a calling that I feel so drawn to not listen to it would mean that I'm not respecting myself on a level. So to set that boundary, then you would say to your partner, look, I have a real desire to be with my family, to move back to the town that my family's in. You know, how do you feel about that? Is that something that you could envisage? Now you've just opened the door, not only in respect to yourself, with respect to yourself, but you've opened the door to your partner, and you've given him free will. You've respected that he might walk through that door, but he might not walk through that door. And the boundary then he will need to look at where he is, what fulfills him. He might turn around and say, do you know what? I don't know if I want to be in the town where your family is, but you know what? I've really kind of been wanting a move. So I'm happy to see if that's the place for me as well. He's just walked through the door. She's just walked through the door. Your partner might turn around and say, look, I'm sorry, but my life is here. So he's not going to walk through that door. Now, a boundary, this is where a boundary gets tricky. Because a boundary is not saying, I'm going to do whatever they agree with, and then I'll make them pay for it down the track. So you might turn around and say, if your partner has said, look, no, my life is here, you might go, oh, okay then. But then every time you find yourself in a situation where there's a little bit of compromise, which is a little, probably nothing, you're going to make it into something. You might say to your partner, well, you know, you might be shopping for a new fridge, and you might like one and your partner might like the other, and suddenly it becomes a big thing because you are going to take on board, well, you know, we're living where you want to live, so I should get the fridge that I want. That's what happens when a boundary is not met. Now, this leads to another understanding. What if another understanding of what a boundary is? So, because for some of you, your boundary might be the love of your partner. So as much as you want to live with your family, your partner actually means more to you than your family does. So that in that sense, you wouldn't be setting a boundary with your partner. And a boundary, Spirit is saying a boundary is not an ultimatum either. A boundary is just something that you need. But if your alignment falls more with your partner than your family, then rather than say, look, in order to be happy, I need to live near my family, how does that sit with you? You would say something like, would you ever consider moving nearer to my family? Because I'm just finding I'm really, really missing them. You're not opening you're opening a possibility, but you're not opening a door as in to say, this is what I need. I'm giving you the choice to walk through it or not walk through it, and either way I will be okay because this is what I need. And Libra, there's an importance in that. And I feel that you may need to re-listen to this in order to understand it fully, because boundaries is not that simple. Because in order to set a boundary, you already have an understanding of what is the most important thing to you. You don't set a boundary with your partner where you're opening a door for them to go through and be there or not be there if they are the most important thing to you. You know, that's when with your partner you will say things like, do you know, have you ever considered moving overseas? Have you considered, like, would you ever think of leaving, like going overseas and quitting your job and starting anew? And you know, that this is where that's making plans. Thank you, Spirit, because I was wondering, how do we make the divide? That's making plans with your partner. That's kind of looking at possibilities, like, what would you ever consider that? Would you ever? But a boundary is saying, I need to seek new things. I want to live somewhere else, and suddenly that is the most important thing for me. That's when you set a boundary. That's when you would say to your partner, look, the call to live somewhere else is so strong in me. It's something I really need to fulfill. Is that something that you would ever consider? And the boundary is you've opened the door to that person. If that person says, no way, never in a million years, then you're going to go without them. Remember, a boundary is not a wall. A boundary is not making plans. Oh, I'll see their reaction. I'm going to give them this boundary and I'll see how they push up against it. But it's not really a boundary. Because a boundary, when it's done in truth and authentic alignment, is something that you want more than anything else. And when I say you want more, it's not that you want more, it's just that that is something that is the most important to you. And there's a level of respect for yourself and for others when you make clear boundaries, because you give people outs. They're not ultimatums. It's not come with me or else. It's like, this is what I need. You know, I hope that like it would work for you, but if it doesn't, that's okay as well. But this is what I've got to go and do for myself. That's why boundaries are so tricky. Because our ego can take a boundary and can twist it around, and without us realizing it, we've pushed people away, or we've built a wall, or we've given a boundary when in actual fact we just wanted to bounce ideas, see where the other person was at. And sometimes we say, oh, look, we're setting a boundary, but we're actually setting an ultimatum. Do this or else. That's an ultimatum. A boundary is not saying to somebody, you have to do what I want or else. Setting a boundary is saying, this is what I need. What do you need? And sometimes you'll walk through the door together, sometimes you won't. And when it's a boundary that's filled with respect and in alignment with what fulfills you, where you are, your soul's calling, who you are, there can be, of course there can be emotions and sadness attached to them, but generally they seem to, everything just seems to flow either forward or away from each other with a lot less drama. Now this is all coming about, Libra, because you're learning to nurture yourself. So it says learn to nurture yourself, become the love you deserve. I'm also noticing the 10 here. And the 10 in tarot is the culmination of something. It's the completion of something. It's the end of a cycle. And I think, Libra, there are deal breakers in your life now. You are starting to see and realize what those deal breakers are for you. What you are no longer willing to live with because it costs you more to live with that than to walk away from it. Thank you, Spirit. That's how you know what a boundary is. When something costs you more to stay than it does to leave. And sometimes it can be a hairline difference until you get hindsight. In learning to nurture yourself, that's when we learn to respect ourselves. In learning to nurture yourself as well, you open yourself up to allowing other people to nurture them. So when you come from a space of nurturing, you want to be happy and you want the other person or the other people to be happy. You don't want your happiness to impair the happiness of others. You don't want, in order for you to be nurtured, for another to not be nurtured. And when we come at relationships, when we come at life like that, we seek alignment, because when we are aligned, what comes to us is filled with love and is in alignment, therefore wants to be there, is nurtured by being there. Become the love you deserve. And I feel that you're seeing your worthiness of love, and I'm not talking about romantic love here, I'm talking about love of self. Respect for self, nurturing of self. And that spills out onto others. Because when we see our own self-worth, when we see our worthiness of love, when we love ourselves and nurture ourselves and respect ourselves truly, we automatically offer that to others. We automatically allow others to embrace all that in themselves. And so everything becomes more beautiful. This card says, seek beauty in everything. A world of wonder, a world of wonders opens. Life just really becomes more beautiful because we're no longer trying to control ourselves, other people, situations. It's not a like it or lump it. It's not like, oh, well, whatever. It's not that energy either. But when we are fulfilling ourselves, when we are seeking to live in alignment with ourselves in all aspects, in everything that means, the things that are aligned with us will find us. And the things that won't, they will be set free to find alignment with themselves, with other things, for themselves. So it makes everything a little bit more effortless. It makes everything a little bit more beautiful. It makes everything a little bit more peaceful, certainly more happy. And I think this is, as you know, a human race, this is what we're moving towards, because Libra, this spills out onto everything. This spills out on how we live in our environment, how we live with the animals, how we live with everything on this planet, not just other humans. You know, suddenly we're no longer willing to, I'm going to do this regardless of everything else around me. Because when we're in alignment, to be in alignment with ourselves does not put others at danger, does not put others, it doesn't put the world or the environment in harm's way. And if it does, then you really need to look at, because I feel that then you're coming at things through your ego, through wanting what you want, as opposed to aligning with what is meant for you. This is quite a challenging reading, actually, Libra, because it runs so deep and there's so much possibility for it to be misinterpreted. You know, you could see this reading as, I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to think of me first and I don't care about anything else. And it's not that energy, because when you think of you first, it's not exclusive, it's inclusive. And I know that sounds a bit weird. Same with boundaries. When you set healthy boundaries, they're inclusive. You say, look, this is what I need. How does that sit with you? You're not going, right, you know, you don't meet my needs, so, you know, get lost, kind of, you know, it's not that. And when we do things in alignment with ourselves and what we need, nothing else. I mean, yes, people can get hurt when relationships end and things like that, but hindsight will show you what a blessing that was, because each of you might then go and find the loving relationship that you both deserve, that together you never would have found. It's that kind of energy. And I feel like there's going to be movement. The first week of August, or your first energy, is the 8 of Cups. And there's a certain level of commitment. There was a certain level of fulfillment in the path that you were on. The relationship that you were in, the situation you were in. But as you learn more and more about yourself, as you peel back more and more of those layers, and you understand yourself more clearly and more deeply, what once fulfilled you may not anymore. The focus may shift. The alignment may change. And therefore, I do feel like there is going to be movement in the month of August for you. And I feel, very simply, Libra, the movement will be away from the things that no longer fulfill you. You're going to use that as a guide. What no longer fulfills you, you're going to move away from. And in the second week, or the second energy, you've got the 4 of Cups. And I'm getting an energy here. Sometimes I can see this card as being quite stubborn. You want to, you know, like abundance in your fulfillment, and then you've got this 1 cup being offered here. And I feel like you're kind of thinking, 1, I had 3 before, or I was expecting so much more. But I'm not getting that with this card in your reading. I'm almost getting at like, okay, this is what I'm picturing, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch and wait, and I'm going to see if anything else comes in. This is a space, Libra, of real awakening, being really aware, because it's not an easy thing to do, to sit back and go, okay, this is what I'm saying yes to. I know what I want to move away from. So let's say you want to move away from being far from your family, which is the first example I gave. So you want to be, you no longer want to be living far away from your family. So you're moving away from the distance that it takes for you to get to your family. Now here you might be saying, okay, I've got these possibilities that are quite good, but I'm just going to sit with it for a bit and see what else comes in. Because I really feel, Libra, that in opening this up, seeking the beauty in everything, I feel like you've opened yourself up to the possibility. You setting your boundaries and respecting yourself, that takes real honesty, real trust. But I feel it's that honesty that has you in this space where you know that you don't see all your possibilities. You might go, I know these, okay, in that city, I know these suburbs, but I don't know them all. So you're going to be open to what comes in. And I feel that because this is the Ace of Cups being handed to you, so it's not yet in your vision, if you like. I feel like the thing that comes in that you weren't planning on, that you didn't have your sights set on, is the thing that fulfills you the most. It's the one that you're just going to go, oh, I'm so glad I waited. Gosh, I don't know why I waited, but I knew I just had to wait. I knew there'd be more options coming in. And I just feel that this card brings a certain, it brings you to the Three of Cups, which is joy, like real joy. In week 3, you've got the Queen of Pentacles, and I feel that what this cup brings in actually leads to fulfillment. You're receiving, or you have received what you needed to receive in order to make that move, in order to achieve what you were setting your boundaries about. Now, the Pentacles are very much set in the real world. This is realistic. This is not your inner growth or things like that. That came before. This is the tangible world. And the Queen of Pentacles knows that she will receive what she needs to receive in this world. Money, resources, people, a home, an opportunity, a job, that will enable her to move or to continue on her path. And the Queen of Pentacles is quite an abundant card. There's the rabbits here. They, you know, they I was going to say fruitful, but maybe not the right word, but they're definitely abundant in their numbers once they get going. So it's the symbol of abundance. And there is a lot of grounded, stable energy here. The Pentacles are the earth signs, so there is stability and groundedness in them. And we finish the reading with the Three of Cups, and this is joy and celebration. This is also Spirit telling me that you'll get to the point very quickly, I believe, where it's almost like confirmation that all the steps that you took to get here was in alignment, because the joy that you feel, I'm almost feeling like the joy that you feel to an outsider seems over the top for what's happened. People will be like, yeah, okay, so you're happy. I don't know what you're so happy about. But to you, it was quite a journey to get there. And it is so meaningful to you that the joy is in alignment with what this means to you. And I feel that there's like, this is if, you know, if, like I said, when you know, sometimes moving away from things, but sometimes, you know, as we set our boundaries and as we move forward with what really calls us, sometimes we say goodbye to things. You know, sometimes our calling is to move away from our family. Sometimes our calling is, like I used the analogy earlier, to move towards our family. We might have to give up on a good job. So there's always a level of unknown. There's always a level of, I think, saying goodbye to something or people. But when it's in alignment with us, even though there is sadness in that and probably a little bit of fear or apprehension, the joy of doing the thing that we so long to do almost overrides that. Almost, it makes it okay in a sense. It makes it worth it. And I feel this Three of Cups is the joy that you're going to feel at moving towards this. I think it's actually, it's going to be, because I kind of feel, well, I'm stuttering, so I'm kind of feeling overwhelmed. This is a big deal. And like I said, others might think, okay, calm down. What are you so happy about? But to you, it's a big deal, my friends. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Libra. This is a beautiful reading. I'm going to leave you with those messages, my friends. Love, light, and blessings, Libra. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.